In this video, we'll be discussing integer word problems, and you can see how integers are used in real-world situations, certain words used to describe and relate integers to one another. So we've been kind of talking about this our entire unit, but today we're really going to hone in on that word problem component. So before we get too started, let's look at this little green box with this cute little picture down here. So this box with the picture is meant to represent sea level. And sea level is actually equal to 0. You can think of sea level as where the water physically meets the earth or the land. So everything above sea level, think of like Mount Everest. They say Mount Everest is so many miles above sea level, so that's why it's above 0. And then you can think of like the Marianas Trench, it's below sea level, so they say it's so many miles below sea level. So anytime they talk about sea level, that is 0. And then anything above it is positive and anything below it is negative. So if we think of our negative integers, if I have 6 feet below sea level, below is our key word there. So let's highlight that word below. And that's going to tell me that this is a -6. In the next one, I have a drop or a loss, and that's my key word there. And that will be a -3. I owe $4. I owe, come on. There it goes. All right, I owe $4, so that's a -4. Now, if we think about positive integers, the temperature rose 7 degrees. So rose 7 degrees, and that would be a +7. I'm 50 feet above sea level, and that's going to be +500 because I'm above that 0 line. And then I have a gain of 16 yards. When I gain, that's going to be positive, so I have +16. All right. So let's look at some more examples down below. It says write an integer to represent each situation. So we're going to do the same thing as we did before. The first one, it says a withdrawal of $10 from the ATM. Well, the word is withdrawal. When I take money out of my bank account, that is a withdrawal from my bank account. So I'm having to pay somebody. So that actually gives me a negative number. So that's -10. If I have a loss, loss is my key word there, of $30. So I'm losing $30. So it's -30. I have 1,820 feet above sea level. So that's telling me it's a positive 1,820. And I'm going to skip down to number 5. I have sea level here, and I know sea level is exactly 0. So what I want you to do is I want you to pause. I want you to do 4, 6, and 7 on your own. And when you're ready, unpause the video so you can check your work. So for number 4, you have another withdrawal. So that's -$35 in your bank account. You had to pay somebody. A deposit. Now, a deposit might have tripped you up. That's actually a positive number. And the way I remember that is deposit means depositive. So deposit is a positive number. You can kind of flip the sound of the word and say depositive. And then the last one, Jack lost $40. So that's a -40. So let's talk about some other keywords that you could look for to know where if integers are positive or negative. And you can add to this list. This list is infinite. This is by no means the end of be all of the list for the integer keywords. So some negative words could be spend, withdraw, deduct, loss, colder, beneath, or below. And one other one that you might hear your parents say is you can say write a check. A check is, if you don't know this, a check is a little piece of paper that you sign to withdraw money out of your account, so to take money out of your account so you can pay somebody. It's kind of like the old school Venmo or the old school PayPal, okay? Some positive words would be receives, deposits, or that depositive, profit, gain, warmer, above, or ascend. And you're welcome to add more words to this list as you see them in word problems, but these are just some simple examples. All right, so let's look at the next page where we actually start talking about word problems. So the big idea for this is to find all the key words in the problem and then connect them with the numbers to create a solvable problem. So just like we did with fractions, we're going to read the whole problem first. Then we're going to identify the key words and write a roadmap for how we're going to solve this problem. So we have 4 examples to go through. So a submarine was situated 800 feet above sea level. If it ascends 250 feet, what is its new position? So let's look at these key words. This is 800 feet below sea level. So that's where I'm starting. And then it ascends 250 feet. It wants to know the new position. So I know 800 feet below sea level is going to be negative 800. And it ascends. That means positive. It's going up 250 feet. Now, when you solve this one, you can think of your blocks. I have negative 800 pieces. I have positive 250 pieces. I have to cancel them across the line. So it's really kind of like subtraction. If I do 800 minus those 250 pieces that I would have to cancel, I end up with negative 550 feet. And it has to be a negative because I have more negatives than I do positives in this problem. And then always make sure you circle your answer, please. Number 2, the lowest temperature ever recorded in Sterling, Virginia was 4 degrees below zero. The lowest temperature ever recorded in Toronto, Canada was 13 degrees below zero. What is the difference between these two temperatures? So when we go to solve this one, let's highlight our keywords. We're starting at 4 degrees below zero, and then Toronto is 13 degrees below zero, and it wants to know what is the difference between the two of them. So because I want to know difference, I'm going to subtract between the two of them, but I want you to draw a little box to write in your numbers. And this is going to be helpful, and I'm going to show you why in a second. So I know that Sterling is 4 degrees below, so that's negative 4. And I know that Canada is 13 degrees below, so that's negative 13. Now, if you pay attention to these signs right here, they are those double signs. So those are the ones that I'm going to have to come together to make that plus. They're going to get funky and add together. So if I rewrite this problem, it's actually going to be rewritten as negative 4 plus 13. So if I have 4 negatives and 13 positives, I'm going to end up with more positives than I will negatives if you think about the cubes. And I'm going to have 9 extra because I have to take away and cancel out those 4. So our answer for this one is 9 degrees. And you're also welcome to think about this on the number line if that's helpful to you. Number 3, each month Pablo's bank statement shows a withdrawal of $40 for his gym membership. What is the total withdrawal for the year? So if we highlight this one, it's $40 for his gym membership. All right, $40 for my gym membership, and it wants to know the total withdrawal for the year. Now we have to think about with that gym membership, how often is he paying it? Well, he's paying it monthly. So when I'm talking about the withdrawal for the year, I'm talking about 12 months. So if I know I'm paying that withdrawal, let me highlight that word, of $40, that's going to be a negative $40. And I have to do that for every month of the year. So I'm going to multiply that by 12. And you can use the little triangle if you need to. Remember, positive slope to the top, negative sink to the bottom. A negative times a positive is going to be a negative. And if I multiply that, 4 times 2 is 48. and I add a 0. So he's going to be out negative $480 that he's going to pay to the gym. All right, last example that we're going to do together. A weather forecaster says the temperature is changing at a rate of negative 8 degrees per hour. At this rate, how long will it take the temperature change to be at negative 24? So we're going to highlight. I have negative 8 per hour. That means 1 hour it changes by negative 8. I want the total change to be negative 24. So I know that's all of the change together. So I'm going to take negative 24, and I have to break it into those 8-degree increments. If you need to, again, you can use the triangle. Positive float to the top, negative sink to the bottom. Negative divided by a negative is a positive. So I'm going to get a positive solution for this, and it's going to be positive 3. 24 divided by 8 is 3, and it's going to be 3 hours. Oops. Sliding you in there. All right. So what I want for you to do is I want you to try number 1 and number 2 on your own. And when you're ready, unpause your video and we can check your work. All right, so when Steve woke up, his temperature was 102, and 2 hours later, it was 3 degrees lower. What is his temperature then? So he was 102, and now he's 3 degrees lower. So what is his temperature now? So I'm at 102, and then I lose 3 degrees. So now I'm at 99 degrees. Okay, and then the next one, the elevator's on the 20th floor. It goes down 11 floors and then up 5 floors. What floor is the elevator on now? So I'm starting on the 20th floor. I go down 11 floors and then I go up 5 floors. So piece by piece, 20 minus 11 would have been 9, and then I have to add that 5 to it, and 9 plus 5 gives me that I'm on the 14th floor. All right, if you have any questions, make sure you see your teacher to make sure you can go over your word problem.